Hey, what's up everybody? Andrew from Fantasy Aid here to give you some 2023 Fantasy Baseball Deep Sleepers. Now, what does Deep Sleeper mean? I define it as past ADP 500. These are not, in this list, it's not going to be players of this guy is the next Julio Rodriguez. It's just finding guys that have some upside and could help your team, whether that be on opening day or as the season continues. So let's dive right in. The first guy on my list is Will Myers. He's currently being drafted around 550. He signed a $7.5 million deal with the Reds this offseason, and that is a great landing spot for him. As you can see, when you think about it, Great American Ballpark, the Reds aren't going to be playing for anything, and they're going to want to trade him at the deadline. So they are definitely going to trot him out there. He had 17 home runs and 8 stolen bases as early as 2021. That's just 2 years ago. And, he had a pretty good post-All-Star break. He had an .831 OPS with the Padres last year after the All-Star break. And this is a guy that could potentially be a 20 home run, 10 stolen base guy. He's still got the sprint speed. He's in Great American Ballpark. I don't expect the average to be super high. He has batted around 280 in the past. I would think something like 250, 20 home runs, 10 stolen bases as the upside, and that's pretty good for a guy who can get back there. Not too many, power speed combo people around that point. Now, this is a guy who could be drafted earlier than 525, depending on when you're watching this video, because AJ Puck is going to compete for a starting role with the Athletics in 2023. And if he's announced as a starter, I expect his ADP to skyrocket. He did very well in the relief role for the Oakland last year in 2022. You can look, you can 10.3K per night as a reliever. As I said, the ADP may shift. Like, you may watch this video later and be like, man, he's being drafted before 500. But this is a guy, if you're doing a draft early, I would take him. The Oakland Athletics starting rotation, they don't have a lot of choices. So this is a guy who's shown that he can pitch, and I do expect him to win one of the 5 starting roles in Oakland. The next guy is a name you're probably going to remember if you're in Dynasty Leagues, and that's former top prospect Drew Waters. He was a top prospect with the Braves, but was traded to the Royals, currently being drafted around 588. Now, this is definitely one of a more reaching for upside. I think the other two can be solid contributors right away. And while the Royals won't be playing for anything, so as long as he can get off to a good start, this is a guy that could be another homer speed combo. He didn't steal any bases last year, but he had in the minors, and an .861 OPS in September. Now, the strikeouts were high. This isn't a guy you're drafting and be like, okay, this is my starting 5th outfielder. This is going to be your 6th outfielder on the bench, and you hope he can turn into something. And I think he can with his former pedigree, and I think the Royals are going to give him a shot to win a starting role in 2023. In the opening of the video, when I said players that could help you down the stretch, Mitch Garver was a name that I was referencing with that. Now, with NFNBC, he's not currently catcher eligible. He's only a DH. His ADP reflects that, and that's why he's at 587. But this is a guy that could catch enough games to get catcher eligibility. And especially in NFBC leagues, that catcher eligibility could be massive. And he could even produce well as a DH in your utility slot. This is a guy that's removed from an .875 OPS. Obviously, the injuries have really hampered him the last 3 years. He had forearm surgery last year, and they do expect that he will be the DH to start out the year, but I would love to see him maybe after the first month or 2 of the season get some catching starts, and you can keep him on the bench, keep him in your utility, kind of wait that out and see what the Rangers want to do with Garver as the season goes on, because this is a massive get if he gets catcher eligibility later in the year. The final guy is someone I think that's kind of been forgotten, and that's Michael Brantley. He re-signed with the Astros this year. He's going at about 541 in ADP according to NFBC, and this is another guy that's had that injury history. It was the shoulder last year. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. But where else can you get an average buff like this late in drafts? And not only an average buff, if he stays healthy and he's in the lineup, he's going to get counting stats. Yeah, he's not a big power guy anymore, but just a couple years ago, he hit 22 home runs in 311. if you think like he's going to hit a 290, he's going to score a lot of runs in that lineup and maybe get you 10 to 15 home runs, that is a guy I'm going to take, especially if I'm drafting some low average guys, maybe in the mid rounds, and I feel like I need someone to bring up my average. Michael Brantley is definitely a guy that can do that for me. So that's 5 players I'm looking at after ADP 500. I had a lot of fun with this video. I'm definitely looking forward to making baseball content as the 2023 season comes closer. I hope maybe I've given you some guys that maybe you can look at as you get later in the drafts, depending on your draft needs. But for Andrew from Fantasy Aid, I'm signing out. I hope you have a wonderful draft.